G'day everyone, Jules here from the Board Game BBQ. Today I'm going to talk about a quick tactical card game called Oriflamme, and also its standalone expansion, Oriflamme Ablaze. But before I dive into my thoughts, I'll give you a quick overview of the game. Oriflamme is a 3 to 5 player card game where players represent families in medieval Paris where the king has died and you're trying to exert your family's influence to claim the throne. So how the game works is you each get given a deck of 10 cards, which you give a shuffle, and then remove 3 of those cards from the game. The game will play over 6 rounds, which means you only get to play 6 of the 7 cards which you end up with. Now, the actions from round to round are really simple. So starting with the first player that has the crown token, players will place a card face down in the action row. So you're forming one big line of cards. From the first player doesn't have an option, they just get to put a card face down. From then onwards, players can either place their family's card at the start or the end of the action queue. The spear indicates which way the cards are being resolved. Once all players have played a card face down, we then go through the queue and resolve the actions. You have 2 ways in which you can resolve the cards. The first being to add influence from the bank onto that card, or you can flip and resolve the card's ability. Once you've gone through the entire queue, the first player marker moves clockwise and then the round begins again. From the second round onwards, that's where things get to change up just a little bit. You don't only have the option to place at the start or the end of the action queue, but you can actually place your cards on top of your other cards to protect the ones underneath. It means a couple of things. First of all, players cannot target the card underneath, but likewise you cannot activate or add influence to that card. You can only use what's on top, and nothing can be done with that bottom card until the top one has been removed one way or another. So the game continues through 6 rounds. Once all of the rounds are complete, you look at who has the most influence tokens and they are the winner of the game. Now, what kind of abilities are we interacting with here in the game? So to give you an example, you've got cards like the Assassin that can just immediately eliminate any card from the queue and you get an influence token for doing so. You've got Conspiracy, which when you flip and collect the tokens that you've stored on the card, you get double the amount that was on there, which is really nice. Now, I should point out that if your card is killed and has influence on it, you do not collect it. It is lost. So you're trying to push your luck just a little bit by stacking up that influence before anyone can knock off the card, which is a really cool element. But then you've got cards that can mess with other people's plans. So for example, the Ambush. If an enemy kills this card, you get 4 influence and it eliminates the other person's card that killed it. You've got things like the Shapeshifter, which copies an adjacent card. You've got an Archer, which can kill cards at the extreme ends of the queue. Soldiers, which kill adjacent cards, and so on and so forth. So the game's all about timing. Picking the right moment to play the right card in the right place, trying to take out your opponent's cards when it is the perfect opportune moment, maybe when they're stacked up with influence cards. It's just really fun, really tactical, and really, really simple. Now, the Oriflamme Ablaze version of the game has completely different cards that the abilities are a little more involved. There's a lot more going on in terms of how they interact with other cards in the game, but it's just a little bit more of a step up, which I'll talk about in a bit. I've played this game many, many times. So let's get off from the table and I'll share my final thoughts with you guys. So that's how you play Oriflamme. Now, I won't bury the lead here and I'll say I really enjoy this game. It's fast, fun, and tactical. It doesn't take long to teach people how to play the game. I've taught many people that aren't necessarily big into this hobby, this game, and their immediate reaction when we've finished a game has been, let's go again. The combinations of cards make for great moments. Yes, there's a little bit of luck depending on how some of the card play comes out, but all of that's negated by the game being really, really fast and quick. I tend to play this game in quick succession, 2, 3, 4 games in a row. It's so much fun. Now, the basic version, or the oldest version of the game, is quite straightforward and streamlined. The abilities aren't super intricate or complicated. They're usually just kill an adjacent card, or you get to swap position for a card. So there's not as much complexity in this version. So it's a really great entry point for a light, quick card game. However, Oriflamme Ablaze has a lot more involved abilities, and for this reason I enjoy the standalone expansion a lot more. It just provides for more unique situations and more crazy combinations that can happen. I had one game I played of this where 6 cards in the line were eliminated at once, which would never happen in the base version. I really enjoy this version. Now, you can actually combine the two. So there's a quick guide given in the newest version as to how you can combine those cards, because there are similarities in some of the abilities in both of these games. There's actually a really great website that has been put together for this game where you can randomly generate the cards rather than going through the intricate steps on how to combine the two. So you can just generate a deck of cards that everyone uses and you go from there. So this is a fantastic game. I thoroughly enjoy it. It is well worth, I think, even having both of these as a great entry point with the base game and something a little bit more advanced, but still just as fun for either version. I would happily pull out either of these at any time. I love this game. I cannot recommend it enough and highly recommend people have a look at it. You can play it on Board Game Arena, the base game. So if you want to try before you buy, that's a fantastic option for you. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Oriflamme, and I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content from the Board Game BBQ, and don't forget to check out our podcast as well. Until next time, hope your next game's a sizzling one.